Hello, this is Marcus Toole, and this is the second video of my November 29th Orchard Tour 2024. And it's the day after Thanksgiving, so happy belated Thanksgiving. And the big tree I'm looking at right here, if you have watched videos from previous years, I would have told you that this is a Mariana plum tree. I am now convinced that it is a grafted plum tree, and the scion that's grafted onto it, I actually don't know what it is. I know that it came from trees of antiquity, and I know that it has a lot of fruit characteristics in common with the Methley plum, but the tree does not seem to be a particularly good pollinizer of other plum types. So I am not confident that it's a Methley at all. I also think the fruit is better than how other growers have described Methley. So I really don't know what this is. But it's a good plum tree, and it's one of the earliest ripening. That's a characteristic in favor of Methley. And it has, the dark red fruit, kind of smallish, cherry plum looking fruit. That's quite soft when fully ripe. So all those characteristics are consistent with Methley, but there are other things about it which make me wonder. Anyway, next to it we have an Acres Home pear. Acres Home is an early bloomer. It blooms with Southern Bartlett. It's very, very similar to Southern Bartlett, but it's better than Southern Bartlett. I like the flavor of the pears better. They're just as watery though, and I'm not real keen on the watery bit. What I do like about Southern Bartlett and Southern King is that the skin is quite thin. Not Southern King, Southern Bartlett and Acres Home. This tree has a very vertical growth pattern. I have two trees, and this is the smaller of the two, and they both just want to go to the moon. You can see where I topped it this summer, and I have two other long branches, but the tree just doesn't want to fill out and become a well-branched tree, and the other one is just like it in that respect. Here we have a Byron Gold plum tree. I have three of them. The one here and one over kind of near the car are both, this one here is on a Tools heirloom rootstock. I have one near a car over there that's on a Richland rootstock. This is on Tools heirloom because the original Tools heirloom tree is over there. And I want to make sure that any suckers come up are in this area are either Tools heirloom or plums that I can easily tell from Tools heirloom. And of course, it's the rootstock that will sucker on a grafted tree. Speaking of a tree I can tell from Tools heirloom, this is a wild plum here for pollination. This particular tree has never suckered, which is very strange for a wild plum, but that is the case. And it's too bad because this particular tree has exceptionally good plums for a wild plum. This tree here is a Korean giant with another Asian plum grafted into one branch, and the Savannah pear grafted into the top. The two Savannah pears that I've actually eaten actually came out of this tree. I don't think the Savannah pear part of the tree is going to bloom this year, but the two Asian pear sections are. So we should get some Asian pears out of it, provided they don't get yacked by a late frost or something. This tree here is a Baldwin pear. As you can see, I've really cut it back and plan to cut it back more still. I don't want this tree being huge because of the citrus trees around it and because of this little plum tree. This began as a goose plum. I stuck a goose plum in this spot, and you know, looking for a pollinizer for other plums, and then only to realize that it blooms too late. And so I grafted into the tree this one here, one of the improved Chickasaw strains. Decided that I didn't like that strain. I have another tree that's more mature in another part of the yard, and so I grafted. So I'm going this spring. I'm going to graft a Ruby Queen into that. As for those suckers, you know, it suckered profusely when I cut down the original tree, and those suckers are going to have to be dug up. I can sell the suckers. Otherwise, I'm going to graft onto them, and we'll eventually sell grafted plums on the goose plum suckers. This is right here is another persimmon tree that's going to get cut back quite a bit. I have Mariana suckers popping up all through this yard from that big tree there. This is my early blooming wild plum, which is good for colonizing ridgeland. And here's some suckers I have of it. I'll be selling these this winter. Over here I have the ridgeland plum, the original ridgeland plum, and I have some suckers from it, and we'll be selling those. And on this sucker here from it, I actually grafted on a Ruby Sweet, and I have 3 Ruby Sweet grafts in the yard that I'm going to keep, and 3 or 4 that I plan to sell. So, but that particular graft is on a ridgeland. Well, let's moving right along. This is going by the Satsumas. This particular Satsuma that doesn't have any fruit on it this year is Orange Frost. Actually, this may be my favorite one, even though it didn't produce anything this year. It didn't produce because I cut it back pretty heavily. This one here is a Brown Select, and I think it made 3 oranges this year. It's really too close to that pear tree, but it is what it is. 2 of my blueberry bushes. This right here is an Arctic Frost Satsuma. It's probably of the Satsumas, it's the most productive one. And I like them. It's a very early ripening one, so I really like it. But some people do, some people don't. I really like it a lot. Right here I have a young Pink Frost grapefruit. It's this one hasn't produced anything yet. Right next to it is a wild plum. This is a later blooming one. This is really good because it blooms with the Tools Heirloom and the Robusto and a lot of my later blooming. So has a really good pollinizer role in my yard. And here's some mess that's got to be cleaned up that's near it. Well, you know, it's never ending. I keep going back and forth. This big pear tree here is my Golden Boy, and this tree really got hit hard with the fire blight, and every year I get black spot in it, or brown spot, whatever they call it. You know, it's a leaf disease. You can see an affected leaf right there. I keep going back and forth whether to remove this or not. I haven't decided. If I remove it, I'm going to put a plum tree in the spot. And that's kind of a theme. I remove stuff and put plum trees because I can sell plums. Here we have 2 grapefruit trees. These are both Pink Frost grapefruits. And I recently did a video, actually a couple of videos, where I reviewed Pink Frost. For South Georgia, I would say that is the best grapefruit you can grow. You know, a lot of the fruit are still kind of green looking. Here's one that's ripe. I'm not sure why. Maybe if I put it on the background, I can get it to focus on it. Yeah, that's a little better. There you go. That's what the fruit looks like. I'm really, come on, focus. All right, there you go. That's better. The focusing on this camera isn't as good as I hoped it would be for a brand new iPhone. So anyhow, I really like it. It's kind of a yellow fruit. It's pink flesh, very sweet, much sweeter than the grapefruits at the grocery store. I have a ruby red over here. And I'm hoping, we're supposed to get some cold weather coming, and I hope it doesn't get so cold that I have to pick this too soon. The ruby red has a more intensely red skin to it. Although I think the pink frost is going to end up being a sweeter strain. Another Arctic Frost Satsuma. This right here is another one of, the youngest of 3 of the Robusto trees. Next to it is a late blooming Chickasaw plum. This is a young Ridgeland that I planted a couple of years ago. I think I'm going to graft this over, even though Ridgeland of the plum trees I have now is probably the best tasting of the bunch to me, but I think I'm going to put I think I'm going to graft this over to spring satin plum cod, and there's another spot in the yard where I want to put spring satin. This right here is another young Byron Gold. This is on a Miss Bessie rootstock, Sunny's yellow plum tree. This really produced very well this year. Made a fair amount of money off of it. Yellow plums, the plums look a lot like Shiro, if you're familiar with that variety. This is the other Segundo tree. This one is grafted onto Tools Heirloom. It's 3 times the size of the one that's grafted onto Mariana. So I don't know if for one thing, the deer did not get to this one like it did to the other one. But other than that, maybe that the soil's better. Right next to it, we have Drag Queen. This is a red leaf plum. You can see its seed parent is Guthrie, which is a Chickasaw type plum. The pollen parent is unknown, but it was almost certainly a purple leaf cherry plum. This tree should bloom significantly for the first time this year. We'll see. I don't know that I want just an ornamental plum, so we'll see if it produces in our climate, and if not, I may graft it over. I'll still get suckers from it eventually once it gets old enough to sucker that I could sell for those who do want an ornamental. But we'll see. I'm going to give it I'm going to really see if we can get plums off of it. I've had 1 plum from it, and it is pretty good. The question is not whether it makes good plums. The question is whether it makes enough plums to mess with. This little sucker here that I've cut off is a Tools Heirloom, and I'm going to put a spring satin on it. There's another one that naturally came up right here. Rabbits kind of got to it. I'm going to graft it as well, and this one here will probably end up being sold once I've grafted. The graft is taken. Here we have Ruby Sweet. I had an Odom that was grafted onto a Tools Heirloom, decided I didn't like Odom, and then grafted it over to Ruby Sweet. And the ruby sweets got covered in bloom bud, so maybe this year we'll find out how good ruby sweet is. This is the Miss Bessie plum tree. It's good and dormant now. The little suckers around it still have leaves on them, but the main tree is dormant. And these are some plum trees that are grafted. These are ruby sweets, and I'm going to keep one and sell the rest. I have some, I think, 2 or 3 Byron Golds over on this side that are in the tomato baskets still being protected. So let's continue on. Got a little bit more to do in this yard. Kind of, this is the big seedling pear tree, which I call Winnie. So if you want sign from it, that's what we'll call the strain, Winnie. But it's basically a sand pear. It's a good sand pear, but it's still basically a sand pear. This right here is Sprite grafted onto Mariana. And this tree seems, it's got a bunch of bloom buds on it this year. So maybe we'll get a good bloom on it. What my sense is that we don't quite get enough chilling hours for it to bloom properly. And the other issue is that it's in kind of shade, but I hope to have a chance to clear out some trees and kind of make it a little sunnier in here. It's right next to a wild type. And then this tree here is what's got grafted in it is Auburn University cherry, and 1/3 of it, and the other 2/3 of it is Reynolds, and I'm going to cut Reynolds out and graft in something else because the Reynolds is kind of fading away. It doesn't seem to be taking our disease pressure very good. All right, well, I think my lens on my phone is kind of fogged up, but anyway, this is completes my orchard tour for November 27th, 2024. Once again, happy belated Thanksgiving. Bye.